Merry Christmas and welcome to Minutes That Matter. Well, turn in your Bible with me to Philippians chapter 4, and as you're turning there, let's begin with this. Have you ever realized the emphasis our world puts on being and pursuing happiness? Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants joy. It's the number one reason the little book, The Secret, has sold more than 19 million copies worldwide and has been translated into 46 languages. In a nutshell, the secret of The Secret comes down to this. If you want good things to come to you, then you have to put good things out there into the universe. If you want happiness and joy, you've got to put good vibes out there. But you want to know the secret? It's bunk. It's garbage. There's no universal return on good vibes. But yet, we want to believe that so badly because we deal in the game of if only. You know that game, don't you? If only I had, you fill in the blank, then that would make me happy. Yet for all of our unhappiness, we've really got a ton of stuff. And each Christmas, we add to all of that stuff that we think is going to make us happy. But it never really makes us happy, does it? Happy yet? Well, there are 4 lies we tell ourselves when it comes to our pursuit of happiness. Let's see if we recognize any of these. Lie number 1. God is withholding from me. This was Adam and Eve's big problem. They thought that God was holding out something better than perfection. And they compared life to what they had to what they thought they could have if God wasn't holding out on them. Lie number 2. God owes me. I put my time in at church. I tithe. I do the best to forgive people when they're rude to me. I've done my bit. Why doesn't God reward me? Lie number 3. If I get it, I'll be happy. Now, this is the game we talked about just a moment ago, but this is a flawed way of thinking. Prosperity and contentment don't always go together. Rich people are unhappy too. Lie number 4. I know what is best for me. Now, this is one of the biggest lies most of us use, even if we don't realize it. We get into trouble when we try to plot our own course to happiness rather than following God's course to contentment. God's course to contentment is inward and cannot be touched by circumstances. It can't be stolen by sickness or poverty. It cannot be ruined by the loss of a job or friends or a house. So then, where do we find true contentment, joy, happiness? Well, if you're there in Philippians chapter 4, follow along as we look at verses 10 through 13. I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now, did you notice what gives Paul joy is not things or circumstances? It's Paul's relationship with God that gave him a sense of contentment that transcended his immediate circumstances. He was a man who knew what it was like to be in the pits, friends. He walked through the valley of the shadow of death, shipwrecked, imprisoned, beaten, and more. Still, he maintains contented because of his relationship with God. Friends, the book of Isaiah tells us that we were made with a purpose, and that purpose is to live for God's glory. Discontentment begins when we put ourselves at the center of the universe and remove God. It's a big view of me and a microscopic view of God. On the other hand, Christian joy is independent of all things on earth because it has its source in the continual presence of Christ, not on temporary things or circumstances. No matter what your circumstance this Christmas season, you can recover your joy. But we need a commitment to contentment. Contentment is a disposition of the heart that freely and joyfully submits to God's will, whatever that will may be. It's easy to submit when God's will involves large amounts of cash, perfect health, exotic vacations, or unlimited coffee at coffee cup overflowing. but a commitment to contentment embraces both prosperity and pain as from the hand of God. So allow me to leave you with 4 practical tips you can start using right now to start recovering your joy. First, ignore the lies of pursuing happiness. Number 2, live with a Jesus is enough mentality. Number 3, count your blessings. Really, write them down. Number 4, focus on helping others who are even less fortunate than you. Be a source of joy to others. So, from all of us at Minutes That Matter, Merry Christmas.